Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target morning briefing, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Have a great show for you today. Now that we are 2 days removed from the election, results are still kind of now trickling in, and we're starting to get a better picture as far as what life is going to look like for us. If you were just listening to Cramer in the intro there, I do think that the election will probably be called in favor of Biden either later today or tomorrow, no later than Friday. And then obviously, Trump has the court challenges already started, and then basically call the winner and then hand it off to the courts. If the courts want to come through in the next month or two and go ahead and reverse that, then the courts have the right to do so, or we'll see. But I do think we're probably going to get it back out of the news and start focusing on COVID and the fact that the U.S. had the highest number of cases. As we now go into winter, COVID is obviously resurging. We do need to pay attention to that. Today is day one of the lockdown in England. So kind of some other things that need to pop up other than the necessarily the counting there. So, but we'll get into more of that in detail during the show. If you're catching us on replay, what you don't see is a chat window and a Q&A window where the folks are talking to each other and able to ask questions. And if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month. So please come out and check us out. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back. Here's our overview for the day. Make sure you have your Q&A window set up correctly, as well as your chat window set up correctly, and using a call sign is always appreciated. So people won't know who you are when you chime in the chat and the Q&A. All right, as far as the standard disclaimer applies, this is a financial education briefing. So you have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything that you hear that I put forward in the room today. All right, as far as our mission objectives today on Thursday, November 5th, again, 2 days away, 2 days removed, if you will, from the election, still counting. We'll see how all of that goes down. Our mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Again, going into the election, we were primarily protecting our money. So focusing on how to capture those gains we've had off the past, 10 years and the bounce off from COVID, and now focus more on protecting that now that we have a lot of the answers that we need to make decisions going forward. I know people are very passionate about this, and I don't mean to poo-poo that, but at the end of the day, split government appears to be the case, and split governments are very positive for business and the market. So gridlock means markets move higher, companies can make money, and without facing unbelievable amounts of new legislation. So Amazon should at least make it 4 more years before it gets broken up. All right, that's an opinion. For tactical objectives out today, we're going to talk about our long-term investing topic, which specifically is Jim Cramer's Nirvana prediction. I looked up this word. Again, it's Buddhist in nature and a state of resurrecting from the ashes or moving beyond, however you want to interpret it. There are several interpretations out there. However, this is kind of an ideal situation where I had prepped clients for thinking, okay, going forward, I don't know if we can get the 10 to 12 average annual during a blue sweep that we had been used to for the past 12 years, basically from the Great Recession, and because we're going to have a blue wave and legislation, taxes, blah blah blah, all these ideas that we're going to actually crush American productivity. Well, we don't have that, and we're not going to have that. And if anything, if you think about this, so I'll pause for a moment here. So if Trump would have won, and maybe he does win, whatever. If Trump would have won, Biden basically fades away back into wherever he went for 4 years while Trump was president, or 3 years before he started running, before the Democratic Party decided that he was going to be the guy. So, but how effective is Trump, or what's going to happen to Trump if he loses? So, say they announce Biden by Friday, and then we go into the court system and say the court system upholds that result and we move on. And I think that's probably the likely scenario. What is Trump going to do? Is he going to fade into obscurity? I don't think so. I think when you look at Trump, and now I can say this because it looks like he may not continue to be the president, but when you look at his particular leadership skills, they're more along the lines of, it's true leadership. It's not management. It's true leadership, saying very visionary things, saying very motivational things. He has a little more negativity of, picking apart opponents and things that a lot of other leaders do. But he's very passionate about his cause. He's more like a cult leader. And I think, if anything, during the 4 years, he has built a cult. And I don't think that cult goes away. If anything, he might be more effective for his party if he's not in office. Because guess what? Not that he really considered himself, being too restrained while he was in office. But I don't know what happened to Obama. I haven't heard from him from years. I think Trump stays in the mainstream media, and I think he spends basically the rest of his life avenging this loss, if it's a loss. I really do. And he's rich. He's kind of done everything he wants to do. So why not stay and be a continual pain to Joe Biden for the next 4 years? Or Harris, or whoever is the object of his wrath. So that's my 2 cents. I do think he may sit and pick apart government better than anybody for the next 4 years, if, again, he's not still serving. Anyhow, that's my 2 cents. All right, let's get back to this. The question of the day: what are the Nirvana prediction is this is an ideal state for the markets. That's what I meant to say. We're going to look at these 6 tickers down here: Amazon, Apple, AMD. Those are longs. Those are things you can put your money behind now. You may not like the price point, whatever. These are going higher over time. And then, of course, things you got to kind of get out of are the banks, and 3M got hit pretty hard, and Caterpillar. These big industrial value type things are pretty well left for dead, and they may not be back in 4 years, literally. So in the question of the day: what are the risks behind trading options? I can't explain options to all of you, but I do want to go in and talk about why we use options, how I use them, which is different from most folks. I use them like a professional money manager, obviously, since that's what I do. But that's not what people on the street do. They do other things with them. We'll talk about that and why they can be right or wrong for you. For our flow, long, short, open, short, long, we're going to talk about the market review. We do have a jobs number out this morning. We do have some earnings out that are interesting this morning, including GM to the positive, and then a slight miss on Alibaba and revenue that's hitting the stock. We'll talk about headlines, which pretty much be election, but we'll see. We are talking about these investments. Our short-term scorecard down 2 are. Oof, let's fix that today. I don't really like the setup today with the big move up. I kind of like a flatter market with individual names moving up. We have so many names moving up, it's kind of hard to pick out winners from just the motion of the ocean kind of thing. So if I don't like what I see, I'm going to pass today, but I do have some names for you in the chat. And hey, Afterburner Spirit, that'd be another good band name. You're right. Nirvana is a great band from the 90s. All right, we execute the market open. Contingencies are standard. Let's go over to TD Ameritrade and take a look at where we are now. That's our day trading stuff. We'll get back to that. Okay, so here's this was yesterday. That was Tuesday. So big moves up, right? Didn't really expect that, right? So market always throwing in surprises. So even as smart as you are, I don't think you know everything, because the business keeps you humble. That is for sure. But yeah, where are we? We're back above 340. We're up, moving up strong this morning. Do we hit new highs this week or next? You kind of can't imagine that, but I will say that there's people like me that sat in front of their computer all day yesterday and sold out of value names and bought back into growth names that we thought the growth was dead. It's not. It's back alive. We have gridlock government for 4 years, regardless of who's president. We'll have gridlock government for 4 years, and that's a good way to make some money. So that's where we are when you focus in on the last 5 days. Again, this is a pretty optimistic move, and it started to get a little more real. So when I got up this morning, we had just right around that big fall right there. It's like, okay, well, maybe this goes red by the open. I don't think that's the case, but still hanging in there. And then we shall see. But strong uptrend in the past 5 days, as you can see there. All right, I don't have those charts set up, so don't necessarily need to take a look at those. Let's come back to CNBC. We'll check on the futures. And refreshing them right now. And let's see, 300 points. Yep, holding 300 or more. S&P up a little bit. And then here's your story. It's, the story has been since about March 9th of 2009, which is the absolute low coming out of the global financial recession, is growth and tech. And guess what? Tech is back. Yeah, right. I mean, you look at a stock like Caterpillar and you go, it's so undervalued. I need to buy some. Well, you can buy some, you hold it for 2 years, it does nothing, if not lose your money, and then you get frustrated and you sell it. Or you can just give in and say it's a growth person's world, and so let's get behind growth. So if you saw me make some moves in your portfolio yesterday, that's what I did. I didn't get crazy with the cheese whiz, but I did make some significant pivots back into China. If Biden's elected, that's a easy no-brainer. He's going to be weak on China. Even if he tries to be tough, it's not going to work. So China's back. Everything that got kind of hit there with a potential Trump re-election is going to start surging. It already has. Marijuana potentially it hasn't been a strong a theme yesterday, but it caught back up overnight. All your marijuana names are up around 7 to 10%, and that's going to be our day trading long for today. And I'm starting to think, I know there's some concerns. Predator, I know you reached out last night to talk about this, but you'll get my opinion today once we get over to those names. But yeah, those are all kind of growth names. We'll continue around the world. The world's probably, green. How can England be in the green in day one of a lockdown? What? That makes no sense. So they're really riding off the American growth. Again, across Asia, everything is just like happy. Because guess what? They think Trump's not going to be around to step on their neck for the next 4 years. Well, he's not going away. I just don't think he fades. So interesting. So it's almost like the election that might not ever end for 4 years. So you have the sitting president with the continual bashing from Twitter. But we'll see. I don't know. Here's our numbers from yesterday. Obviously very positive. 3.8% up in the NASDAQ. VIX taking a hit. I was kind of thinking about waiting for a second surge. I'm not sure we're going to get one. Bonds are pretty flat. Oil's pretty flat. This is interesting. So I would have to imagine this is due to the Republican masses who think the country has gone to heck, and they don't leave. They simply dig bunkers and go bury their gold and their silver in them. So pretty big surge across the board in the precious metals. I think that's all the Republicans going, well, crap, I guess this is happening. I better hunker down before they come take my 401k. But they can't take my bunker. So anyway, that's what I think is going on. All right, let's check, refresh, go to the headlines. Tired of talking about those folks. You can get that from mainstream media. There's the divided Congress is Nirvana. I have to agree. Big tax cuts or changes cuts. What? Big tax raises are not coming. And then, we're not going to have increased regulation. So I'm not even going to go into that. Let's talk about the names out there. Move this over. All right, Amazon, here's a name this is one of the names we're going to talk about today. You can buy growth. It was up here at 3,500 or so. Anywhere you buy in here, you're going to be happy 4 years from now. So just do it. Things you might not want to consider are banks. Banks are so cheap right now, and I know it's mystifying, but the problem is net interest margin. How long are the interest rates going to stay lower? Fed says 3 years. I say 10. I don't see a way out of that. I really do not. Maybe I'm just not smart enough, and I'm okay with that. But I don't see a way back to the profitability of the banks. I think we're actually going to start seeing some of them close. You have a small town with 10,000 people in it. There's one McDonald's and 9 banks. First of all, what? Secondly, they must be printing money, and they are. And people are starting to get smarter that you don't need 50,000 sitting in the bank, letting them make all the money on it. You can do it yourself. If you don't know how, call me. All right, let's take it over to the other names here as we take a look at Schwab. I didn't put them in here yet. So there's Baba, we have Apple. What were the other names we're going to take a look at? You're going to see the main story. Oh, AMD is a huge name out there. went up yesterday significantly. So from a long-term investment, if you want to pick up some AMD, you're not wrong. You might have seen that show up in your portfolio out there. Things you can't touch, banks. Basically, we looked at that chart already. 3M and manufacturing CAT. I mean, you're just not going to see these names come back. I mean, they look attractive when you look at screeners, but they're just crazy. So, all right, I see some stuff popping up in the chat. 9 pharmacies. Let's see, who was that for? Oh, the bank analogy. I got you, a Predator. Yeah, right. Healthcare, but how are these banks making money? How are they staying in business? And no movie theaters. Yep, I think those days are gone. All right, let's take a look at the day trades that we were going to take a look at today. So if you look in the chat, Kronos is if I'm saying that right, it's a marijuana name, half medical, half recreational, like they all are, right? They stood up under a medicinal, but they have a certainly residential, or excuse me, a recreational tone. So 554 is where it closed. It's up at 570. I do like this name long. We shall see. There's several other names out there. The Afria is the other long we're going to take a look at. 497 up to 538. So again, pretty good move up there. They also had a big announcement that they're going into cannabis infused beverages, which they bought a beverage company. So it's one thing to say you're going to do it, and it's another thing to go out and buy a beverage company. They just did. So they might get a little more action to the upside. I think that's probably what this is talking about. Nope, it's not. But anyhow, that's a headline that is out there. On the short side, I'm hesitant to go short into this. But if you want to go short, a hated name out there is Zynga, that they have a bunch of viewers, but not that many profits. So they dropped from 987 all the way up here down to 929. So that could have a lot more room to fall. And then a bio name that's out of favor now, if you've heard of it, is Bluebird Bio. So it is also on the way down. Yes, Qualcomm, that's excellent input there. Qualcomm is the 5G leader. This is when people are asking me all last year, where do I invest in 5G? It's like we're closing our eyes and buying Apple and Qualcomm. Most of us already had Apple. The Qualcomm there, when you look at them, they're up big, but they're up out of our range. They're up more like 15, 20% or something kind of crazy. It's probably in the top 10 volume. Nope, don't see it there. Looking for, there it is, 13%. So kind of out of our range as far as trading. But the names that are up across the board, it's the same things. It's gaming, it's marijuana, and it's China. And everything's up 5+%. We're going to try to capture some of those names going higher. As far as the okay, yeah, Qualcomm there. So let's see what other names are out there. You have the Lee Automotive, Neo, that's been on fire. That's been a straight line up. You have Lee and you have Xpeng. All these charts you can take higher if you want to there. So XPEV. So those are the main themes, not only for today, but going forward. And a lot of these names are very expensive out there. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of me and go over to our board for trading, which is ThinkPipes, TD Ameritrade. We have a minute 20 to go. We have SPY, CRON, and then we want to put, there's DraftKings. You can see that's been on fire. You could take that long today too, but we're not going to, since it burned us yesterday. APHA, and which has come in quite a bit, but I still like it. And our only short is Zynga over there. And again, we'll switch to Bluebird if we need to. Don't really like this short in a straight up market, but if the market does flip, that's where we can see. So when you think of your entry points, thinking 10 cents for Crone or less, APHA, same thing, 10 cents. So manage your sizing accordingly. And then probably 15 or 20 cents if you take Zynga short, just to give yourself a little more room. All right, need to set my chart up real quick, which ones I like. And we will get going. All right, welcome to the On Time On Target trade of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you. On the left, we have a SPY showing the 1-minute chart, so we can keep an eye on what's going on in the market. You know the futures are up big. They kind of came in. Now they're going back higher right prior to the open here in a few seconds. We have Kronos long. That's a marijuana name. I have Afria long. That's marijuana. Starting to talk about. There's your opening bell. Starting to talk about beverage infused, cannabis infused beverages, that sort of thing. And then you have Zynga short. So we're going to get zoomed in here. All right, if I don't like what I see, then we're not going to trade today. So taking a look at kind of like Afri here, selling off, that's profit taking. So that's going to be how I'm going to set my charts up. APHA, this is going to be long. Do some math real quick on how many shares you need. And get ready to go. So what we're thinking, whoa, there we go. We're thinking here is we're going to wait for it to go over. Well, we're going to see where it drops. I'm using 550 right now as my entry point. At 550, we're going to take that. There, it just hit. I'm in the name. So 550 is your entry and 540 is your exit. So here's your entry. Make sure your stop's at the bottom there at 540. Down here at 540 below the low of the day. Just saw the markets going red there, so we'll see. So 540. And make sure you have that all set up in case it drops out of it. All right, good to go there. All right, so we are in this trade. This is a long for Afria. Get the arrow drawn in if it lets me do it. Terrible arrow, but at least it's letting me draw it. Okay, look at this over here in Zynga. Zynga's fallen off the face here. I would need to see the market roll over to continue to do that. All right, Kronos jumped up pretty good. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but it's actually not. This is a 13-cent move, so it's not like it's actually printing money here. All right, 545.60, so top of the screen will be 1R. And then looking for 3R, obviously. All right, keep an eye on it down there low. Again, 540 is the low of the day, or 541 is low of the day. If it hits 540, we're out and we will move on. So keep an eye on that while it's right there until it flips back green, and then we can kind of go on to our other surfing about other names. All right, Zynga just falling like a rock. 30 cents since the open on Zynga. And again, I like to go short, but you just can't short into a plus, a market screaming higher until it finally reverses. All right, it looks like Afria is chilling out for just a second. So let's, Zynga looks like it would have worked. So we don't need to stare at that anymore. Blue as far as a short. Wow, look at this one. 48 falling off the planet down to 45. There's your move. Realistically, you probably wouldn't take it until maybe 48 or so when it's in free fall. So you stab at it here. Yeah, maybe $1. Yeah, if you can go 50 cents, you make 3R easy. Pretty much you stay here. By the time you get the stop in, you're probably back out of it. You probably just market kill it down here at 46. So overall, both shorts that we talked about work. Let's go ahead and take a look at our third long, which was Penn, which again, Penn Gaming, you could do Boyd or DraftKings. These are long names. It was gapping up. Keep an eye on the trade there. It's starting to sell off. So again, if it hits 540, we are out. If it keeps holding that 542, that means there's a buyer there, which would be good news for us. That'd be protecting us. But it keeps testing it, which I'd like it to stop doing that so we can move on and go higher, but we shall see. There it went down to 541. All right, we'll kind of let it go. All right, over at Penn, Basically kind of flat. It's not really going up. Switch over here to DraftKings, DKNG. Up 5% or so on DraftKings. There you go. You got to be out of the pin, or excuse me, got to be out of the AFRIA. Unfortunately, and again, that's another R for our scorecard. So making sure I am free and clear out of it. Yep. All right, all done there. All right, let's see. DraftKings going higher. BYD Boyd Gaming is another one that is going higher. Free to play. I don't like BYD as much as DraftKings though. And then Luckin Coffee hit $5 yesterday. That's a name we follow. Basically, if I grab it from about an hour of the close, it kind of marched higher from a couple hours there. Nope, there's 1400 to 1500. So yeah, from an hour prior to the close, it went from 475 even at 1400 all the way up to $5. That's a heck of a move. And of course, that's continuing up into the market today. I like that long-term name. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on around the world here. All right, there's Qualcomm up 11% or so. That's actually down from where it was earlier, but up significantly there. This is an option, so your option on Qualcomm's up 48%. We are talking about options today, so let's take a look at that option, since we're talking options anyway. See if I can widen that out. Maybe I can do this, maybe I can't. And here we go. Come on, maybe up here. There we go. Okay, so what you have, we'll put Qualcomm in the window right here. Right, QCOM. I'll show you what's going on here. So you had Qualcomm close at 128. Okay, so you had now it's up 11%. So when you went to bed, or when you checked out yesterday, Qualcomm was right after. So when you close or when the market closed yesterday, I'll say that. Here's where we're sitting at 128. This call is up at 140, which is up here. So not going to let me draw. I have to get into, I don't need to draw it. So up here is 40. So nice and safe. Well, now that you've gone past that, if you own this call, everything above this 140 is now profit for you. If you sell this call, then everything above that is now negative. So in this case, the call itself is up 48%, but if you sold it, there's going to be a negative in front of that. So what happens is calls work opposite of the stock. So if you sold the call, which is what this is, a covered call, is as the stock goes up, the overall price of the call goes down. So it's always a hedging function, and that's what you'll see out of this. And that's why we do it for covered calls. And again, a covered calls, you've already sold it, and somebody paid you for that coupon, basically, that says, I have the right to buy Qualcomm at 140. They pay you the money up front, you give them the coupon, and then if they want your shares, they call you up and say, I want your shares. All that happens to your platform. But you can think literally, if you did this with your neighbor, just like, hey neighbor, tell you what, if you give me $100, I will sell you the right to buy my calls buy my Qualcomm stock at 140. And they're like, pass, or like, yeah, I'll do that. And so right now, if you sold, they could cash in their call right now, and they would make $3.68, which is the amount above 140. Now, if they paid $100 for it, then you have to subtract out the $100. So then they would only make, $2.68. So that's how it works. So the calls, if you buy them, again, it's because you're either speculating and don't want to commit the capital to it, or you're hedging against the overall stock. Sometimes if you own Qualcomm for 10 years, you might have an entry basis of like $10. So you don't want to pay $100,000 in taxes for selling your shares. So you're like, maybe I think it's overvalued, I want to sell my shares. But you really can't, because you're going to pay so much in taxes, like a third of that. So you don't do that. You simply hold it and you hedge with calls. So then again, that's where the calls become a derivative of the underlying stock there. Okay, what else can we talk about? That's an Apple call, that's a DraftKings call. DraftKings call up at 70. When you look at DraftKings, it's at what, 40? So you talk about a safe call. So yeah, 41 for DraftKings. This call is out in January 21st of 2022. That's a long ways away, but again, it's almost double the current stock price. So psychedelic name, Nikola's up. These are EV names. Luckin's up 5%. Gotta like that. Helion's an EV name. That's the old shell. LCA is Golden Nugget Online Gaming name. So you can kind of see the trend here. Trade Desk is a tech name. I'm sure Facebook will be in here somewhere. Blackstone's recovered significantly. I love Blackstone. NVIDIA is a good name to have. Palo Alto Networks, Sony, PlayStation 5 release coming up. If you can get your hands on one, let me know. I cannot. I'm trying to get one on pre-order and can't find anywhere that has them. All right, let's see what's in the red today. If anything, not much. We got Clickstream. Alibaba's in the red. Again, that's because they had earnings last night. And they also moved up big the day prior. So here's your 2 days prior. So this is the election. This is the, Trump's going to win. So crap, better get out of all Chinese names, right? So you do. And then you're like down here and it's just like, well, I don't know. So kind of flat for a day and then starting our march higher yesterday on, I guess if Biden's going to be in office, then we better get into Chinese stocks because they can basically continue to rip us off and do everything China does to make money for themselves, not for us. And then you have the earnings release here. So that's what this is. The bottom, you have the earnings in the conference call. And of course, that's why the stock got hit. This is a great entry point. I will be buying this today as soon as I am off of the mic. Owl Rock Capital, CWH is Camping World. We talked about that. I bought some of that. They're doing some buybacks. Mineral, GoDaddy crushed earnings too. And it's, I've always said about GoDaddy, it's not an $80 stock. Every time it touches 80, it gets hammered. So when it touches 80, sell your GoDaddy. Now it's done this several times, so it's not like you have only one chance in the world to do it. Okay. Let's get back to the green because green is more fun than red. Shroom, that's a psychedelic name. There's our Qualcomm. All right, that's enough of that. All right, let's go back to the Investopedia, and I will close out with some options trading. So that's what you see here, and I'll come back up on camera. So what you see here as far as options trading, generally, if you don't understand the math, you don't do it. So not that, that's a duh moment, but don't do it unless you can follow the math. If you're buying options, you're spending a small amount of money to make a large amount, potentially. It's more gambling to me than anything if you're buying options. And again, we talked about the 2 reasons to buy options, which are down here. And this is a long page, so I'm not going to go through everything. It does give you examples. Why use options? Number 1 is speculation. Now, speculation is more gambling. So remember, definitionally, since I know there's a name in here I don't remember having this particular conversation with. Remember, investing is the allocation of capital with the probability of gain and possibility of loss. So think about that again. Investing, probability of gain, possibility of loss. So every time we take an investment, we're likely to make money, but we could lose money. Gambling's the other way. Gambling is the allocation of capital, that part's the same, with the expectation, the probability of loss, but possibility of gain. So again, it's that possibility of gain that keeps everybody playing the Texas Lotto. I mean, you got to be kidding me. If you took any 8th grade or higher level math, you're not playing the Lotto, period. Otherwise, you're just you're paying voluntary taxes, and you know that. But it's that possibility of gain, possibility of being, the Mega Millions winner person that keeps you coming back. So a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll take that chance. But those are definitions that are very similar, but obviously 100% out from each other. So we don't want to gamble, we want to invest. So for speculation, that's really gambling. So what I tell folks is that if you have the capital, which people I talk to generally have plenty of money to be able to just buy the stock. So if you want Apple stock, go buy Apple stock. If you buy Apple stock, you can keep it for 20 years, make your money hand over fist, have received in dividends what you ever paid for it and more. So the entire position is completely house money, and sell it or don't. You have it, so you base your net worth on it. So maybe you don't ever sell, but you can certainly enjoy other things in life because you have this in your brokerage account. If you buy a call because you think Apple is going to go from 110 today to 120 in 3 weeks, and you're right, guess what? You're going to spend like $50 to buy the call, and you make 150 in 3 weeks. And you high fives, you made $100 in 3 weeks. Good for you. What? Talk to me about that $100 20 years later, right? I mean, literally, you are so short-sighted that you are trying to make this small transactional amount of money when all you had to do is buy the stupid stock and hold it for 20 years. So anyhow, there are people that make, we do some day trading. There are people that day trade options. And what that gives you is we have our normal amplitude that we're looking for, that 1 down to 3 up, or opposite if we're going short. That's plenty for me. There are other folks out there that are risking like 1R to make 10R. Well, they like hit 1 trade a month, and that's ours already. You need to hit like 1 of 4 trades to break even. That's just the math. But we hit more often than that, so you make money over time. These, you can get into, it's more junky kind of stuff, and I don't particularly care for it. You can also use options for hedging. It's kind of like buying portfolio insurance, if you will. I'm not going to go in that today. Next time we look at a big down market, I always There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think it was my internet. Hey, Burner, good morning. Yeah, I was kind of done anyway. I was ranting about options. So with that, let me go ahead and let you guys go, since I think my internet just, I'm off of my hotspot on my phone now. So I need to go troubleshoot that for my homeschooled kids. Not homeschooled, but obviously they have class right now. So, all right, with that, I will let you guys go. Option, don't play with kids. Options, they're like fireworks and, juggling chainsaws, that sort of thing. So very few do it successfully, and you have to know what you're doing. With that, I will let you guys go, and we will check back in tomorrow morning.